and we don't know how to dissipate that energy, your mind is going to look at that as like DEFCON 12. We got to, like all systems, we got to get this under control. And for an 8-year-old who's never experienced that, because she's never had that experience, she felt like puking. Like she actually went to the bathroom and like felt like she was puking. And none of that happened. And to what we were talking before, it's like, right, to her, there was a label like, I'm anxious or I'm going to throw up. But in reality, all that was happening was a sensation. And so when we do this work, and when you bring, so like afterwards, I sat her down and we sat, and I actually had her in her mind eye. First, you want to notice that you're in a comfortable, safe, peaceful environment. Find a place outside that you're comfortable, maybe a place in your house, and just really ground yourself that like, I'm safe. And then you close your eyes and you start to bring this event into your awareness. And you'll notice that even right now, think of that person that's really irritating you or that circumstance that really scares you. And you're going to start to notice some stuff happen, maybe around your stomach, or maybe your heart is contracting.
Or your throat is closing.
Or your throat is closing. And this next piece is super important. This work is done with agendaless awareness, agendaless viewing. If at any place you feel this contraction in the heart and you go, okay, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to make my heart open. I am telling you right now, you are not smart enough. You are not like gifted enough. It just, you can't do it. There's an intelligence to your body. Just like when you cut your arm or you get a cut, you're not sitting there going, okay, white blood cells, red blood cells, I need you to travel down my arm and go there. You just let the body do what it does, right? So what we're inviting is agendaless viewing. I want you to imagine you're on a park bench and you're watching kids at play. You're not trying to tell them, oh, you need to climb here, or you need to go there. Simply watch. Watch the sensation. Allow the mind to do what the mind does, but because you're not localized here now, because just like Guy showed you, you can move awareness from your hand to your foot to your stomach. You're just going to allow awareness to find the place inside of you that has the most active sensation.
This is wonderful. We teach it. We teach it. To those who think that I don't understand it or it's too complex, it's just the opposite. We teach, you drop into your heart, you go to a safe place, and let the body do its thing. In other words, you feel it instead of direct it. And Kryon so many times has said you don't get in your car and read the manual before you step on the gas. You trust it to do its thing. And that's where we're going. Now, we're running out of time, and well, this is wonderful. Tell me, tell the folks where they can see more.
Yeah, sure. Why don't you guide them to the group, and then they can actually grab the meditation, and because we've recorded like a longer guided process of this, and hopefully this gave people enough a taste to know the power of it.
Yeah, and I think it's prudent to understand what we've been kind of trying to hit home is that you can't learn this from reading in a book. It needs to be directly experienced. And that really is a different way of education that most of us have learned from the traditional landscape of, like linear processed type of learning. Here, it's like the activation happens instantly as soon as you recognize it within yourself.
Yeah.
So if you guys actually go to joinoldsouls.com, again, joinoldsouls.com, it will take you over to a page where you can register and get access to our Facebook group. And this is the type of training that we do in there on a weekly basis. So you can come experience it for yourself. We have a multitude of meditations and a really supportive community and coaches that we train. And so if you're looking for a direct experience and you do want to have that once you're in the group, it'll be really clear how you can start exploring experiences with our community and get direct guidance from us on how to have this level of activation, which really creates very sustainable transformation. And honestly, more important than anything for us is the feeling of well-being and safety. And really just imagine what life feels like when the foundation of who you are is coming from and being sourced from well-being and safety. Most people have not taken that into consideration yet.
No, they haven't. Yeah, you're right.
You'll get the meditation as well, which is I highly recommend. Just give yourself a week. of doing it either at night or in the morning.
Yeah.
And just see what arises. Just people have ecstatic healing experiences just by the meditation.
You've given gold here, and I know it's happened too fast, but there's several things that I love it. Do you want to stop the dialogue? This is how. This is it. And it's not instant. You're going to have to work with it. It's going to take a while. There's going to be practice. But it's doable. And I just love what you're having to say.
And I just want to finish up with what was that end process with the 8-year-old daughter, because we never kind of got to taking her through that. And why I'm asking is, if your 8-year-old daughter can do it, anyone can do it.
Right.
So please just finish sharing that with us.
Yeah, thank you for asking. So we were in her bed and she was comfortable. And what I told her was I had her notice the sensations. And one of the most healing things is finding ground, connection to ground. Whether if you're lying down, your back body, and just really feeling that connection to earth, Gaia, or your feet on the ground and feeling that. And she just sat there for 3 minutes. I promise you, this takes so quick if you just allow it. And the energy just started to flow and dissipate. She had her first day of school today. Okay. She walked in and I was like, her name's Aaliyah. I was like, Aaliyah, how was your day? She said, you know what? I felt nervous at times. I was like, and she goes, and I did the practice and it went away. Mm-hmm. So Monica, to your point, like, and Lee said it too, this stuff is almost too simple for the human mind. Yeah. Because we expect that it needs to be so complicated. And that's why we read fancier books and bigger books. But like the technology, the cutting edge stuff is so simple always. And if an 8-year-old can do it, anyone can do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Beautiful. Well, I invite all of you to connect with Sattorii Prime. Follow those links, the joinoldSouls.com. And
it's been great.
Yeah.
Great.
We're going to have to take a 10-minute break, but we will see you back for the Circle of 12.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Those guys, I know I know them, I can say that. Those two professional gentlemen, they really have a great protocol, in my opinion. I don't know how many people have written to us, even the question says, and say, how do I stop the dialogue? In my mind, how do I stop that voice that says that I'm not succeeding and I'm angry and all that stuff? This is a good protocol, and it's worth watching again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really loved, of course, Lee, I really loved when the 8-year-old girl just got grounded and connected to Gaia.
That's right.
That's my passion.
I love the 8-year-old explanation too, because it's childlike, but it really does start to say that we can do this.
Absolutely.
If a child can do it, we can do it. I think our intellect gets in the way of so many of these things. I mean,
doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Doesn't it? Our intellect, our busy mind really gets in the way.
It does for me. I know that's true. So
that's why the Circle of 12 is so beautiful, because we really are stepping aside the intellect, stepping aside the mind. And going into a multidimensional experience.
So thank you, gentlemen, yet again for presenting on our show.
Yes. So speaking of Circle of 12, it is that time where we are now going to move into the Circle of 12 experience. And I want to invite you to release all expectations. If you have been doing the Circle of 12 for more than one experience, just recognize that every time you enter into this, you will have different experiences. And some of you will get beautiful visualizations, and some of you will get no visualizations. And whatever it is for you is completely your experience. And so bring your awareness into this moment. Bring your awareness into the fullness of the experience that is here for you. And you may even wish to connect with all the other souls that are listening to this, both in your now time and the ones that are joining you in the future, which is also their now time. So while the experience is personal, it is joined by a collective soup of souls. And that collective soup of souls is enhancing your personal experience, because every soul here is wanting the most benevolent outcome for your Circle of 12 experience. And so in this state of anticipation, if you haven't already closed your eyes, I invite you to close your eyes, release all expectations, and allow and welcome this journey to unfold.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon. Come a little closer. Still again, another week. We greet you in this fashion. In the lessons of today, the guests of today, there were so many things that were said which are ultimate truisms. And it's so difficult in the dialogue to hear them and actually grasp what they mean. It's almost like statements that were given should be placed on a blackboard so you can see them and ponder them, and then have someone come in and explain every word. Because some of the things that were even stated today are so true that they can change a life. One statement, with cognizing truly what it means, can change lives. Over and over through this last year, you have heard those who would present say similar things and have different kinds of processes that would bring you then to solution, perhaps on some of the things that almost every human is going through in these new times. Even those of you who believe that you fully understand what is going on and you're peaceful with it, times are changing. When that which is around you and the environment which is around you and the things around you which have always been stable, when they start to move and change and shift, all those little voices of your subconscious, they come back. You may have conquered so many of them, but all of you listening right now are a product of the old energy. You grew up in an old energy. This shift only started 9 years ago. And if you're 9 or 8, you're not an adult. You don't have that which is the processing capacity to even discover what we speak of now. So I will tell you, all of you, we're born in an older energy with older processes, older thoughts, older cultures. And that's what's going on right now. And that is a moving from one to another. That also brings about so many of the issues about your subconscious. That subconscious of yours, dear ones, is a defense mechanism. It's built to save you, to help you, to work with you. But when things change around you, it hurts you. For instance, if you grew up and for the first 20 years of your life there was a Bengal tiger outside, and all of your life you were creeping around so that you would not disturb it, or being afraid of it, or learning how to skirt the issue and learning how to not fear it and all, and then in just a year or so there are no more tigers. Would you understand then that your subconscious will always see a tiger? Because that's what it learned in its defense. And every time you go outside, you'll be creeping around. And those perhaps who were not born in that will look at you and go, "Why are you creeping around?" And you're going, "I wish I could figure it out." Exactly.
Great. Good distinction. So wonderful questions, by the way. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. And so we're going to move into a short meditation and our channel from Kryon. And this really is a moment where you can completely relax and allow your body to let go of any tension that you feel. You may wish to scan your body and feel, are there any places in my body where I'm holding tension? And perhaps a great way to really scan and tune in is to close your eyes and allow your breathing to deepen. And as you quiet your mind, just focus in feeling your body. Are there any places where you feel tension? And it's okay if you do. Just going to acknowledge, no judgment, just observing. Feel if there's a place where there's tension, and we're just going to send that area waves of love, release, surrender, let go, and relax. And in this posture of relaxing, we're now going to give permission and give allowance to receive benevolent energies. These benevolent energies are going to come to you through the third language of the Kryon channel, So allow yourself to relax and receive not only the beautiful message from Kryon, but the benevolent energies that flow out from the field directly to you.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. Indeed, these are times where we speak to you personally. Some have felt that channeling is not personal. They felt that these are messages for the planet. The planet, dear one, made up individually of you, and you, and you, and you. And so, from my standpoint, and all that I am as a messenger to you, in love with humanity, is person to person. It's how I feel it. It's how the messages are structured. All of these years, you might have heard me say, dear one, or dear ones. Seldom do I address a full group of humanity. These are personal messages. This particular month, I have chosen something, and I told you last week that the theme is the soul. Now, that is a very big theme. I also told you that in 2014, I gave my partner a series of informational attributes about the human soul, 9 of them. It was a program for more than 2 years, given in 5 languages, called the 9 Attributes of the Human Soul, something that may yet be taught again. But this month, I'm going to give you, and told you last week, 4 extraordinary attributes of the soul. Extraordinary. The soul itself is extraordinary, and last week we gave you the immensity of what it might mean actually to have a soul. And this week is the most complex, and we have saved it for members. Because those who would watch this particular show through the intent that you have given to do so would be considered those who would be wanting to know these things, as opposed to those who would tune in just casually and then be totally confused. This extraordinary attribute of the soul has been channeled many times. We've discussed it many times. And yet, it is still not understood. We've had several labels we have given it to make it easier, and yet it's still not understood. The reason it is so difficult to understand is because the attribute that I'm about to give you sometimes is disappointing. It's disappointing because you live in a linear world and you want things to be a certain way. And when you learn they are not on the other side of the veil, there is disappointment. When I was a child, I was told all about heaven. I was told that there were streets of gold. I was told that when I got there, that I would have nothing to do all day long but fun things. Perhaps if I was older, I'd be in a rocking chair. And on and on and on. I was given as a child a linear description of something that doesn't exist, but something that is grand on the other side of the veil. An existence with God. True. This is true. And yet it has nothing to do with golden streets or a rocking chair. And when I discovered that, I was disappointed. I wanted to see the streets of gold. This is what I speak of, because when I tell you this extraordinary attribute of the human soul, you're going to go, say what? Because you're not going to like it. Unless you truly, truly understood the beauty and the majesty and the grandeur of what it is that I'm going to say. We started by describing it in 2014 as soul splitting. And we said that every time you pass over in human form, a piece and part of your soul stays with the loved ones on the planet. Now, this begs in a very important question. You mean to tell me that a piece of my divinity is like torn away and given to somebody else? That is so linear. That's that street of gold. And the answer is no, that is not the way it is. And so we reframed it so you'd be more comfortable, and we then called it soul sharing. You see where this is going. And that was better, because now you have the idea that you're keeping part of it and just sharing it for a while. That isn't so either, but it sounded good. The truth is grander than you think. Your soul, you want to think, is a bubble with you in it. It's a grand bubble that is divine. It's a piece of God. You're eternal. These are all things that we have told you before, and that so many tell you, that your soul is actually a piece of the Creator. This is old energy that tells you otherwise. You are a piece of God. Therefore, when you pass from this place, you're not going to be punished. You're a piece of the Creator. Doesn't punish himself or herself. So what I'm going to tell you is this soul sharing, this soul splitting, is a beautiful concept because it implies that your soul is more than just you in a bubble skin, that somehow is beyond the veil floating around as you in some kind of a bubble, which is your skin on the other side of the veil. In other words, you're contained. Well, you're not. If you understood multidimensional things, you'd understand there's no containment vessel. There is no bubble. There is no skin. There's nothing that would then outline how big your soul is. It just is. How big is God? You want to outline that? You want to put God in a skin? And the answer is no, you cannot. And you cannot do that with your soul either. The star mothers in Lemuria used to give the example of this to the children and say, how big is joy? Draw me a circle. And they couldn't. And they got the impression and understood there are some things that are so beautiful that they expand and contract on their own, and they don't have skin. They don't have a container. So how does this soul sharing work? I could give you the workings of it and how it works, but that's not as near as important as what you understand the extraordinary factors of it is. You are never, ever alone. You share this grand thing called the soul with so many others, and they share you with them. Now you might say, well, I'm not understanding at what point does the sharing happen so that there's more of me with them than with me? And I'll say to you, how linear of you. You know, it's not a vessel that you're pouring things between. Do you have any trouble with the fact that God can be in a million places at the same time? And if you're praying, do you wait in line? Or when you're praying, do you say, well, I feel bad that God is also listening to someone else? And the answer is no. That never occurs to you. I want you to get used to the fact that these attributes that you apply to the creative source, to God, to the Spirit, whatever, apply to your soul. You are part of all of that. Therefore, all that is part of your soul. Can you imagine a very, very beautiful scenario where when you pass from this earth, a piece and part of your divinity stays with those around you who love you? Those who love you. I didn't say your parents or your children. I said those who love you. And that is a bit different. And that's for a reason. And that reason and that design and that entire system, if you want to call it, is for benevolence and beauty and kindness. And many know what I'm speaking of. It tempers the grief of a loved one who passes. And if you really are with the program and you understand that, you feel that loved one until it's time for you to pass. And then you pass that on to yours. What a system. But in order for this to work, it's soul sharing. It's like you climb into their soul for a while. And in the process, there is benevolence and beauty and compassion for them and for you. This is what the soul truly is about. It's for sharing. Some will say, I still don't understand. I'll give a linear example because so many want this. If you could put your soul in a bowl and you put water in the bowl and you look at your loved one and they have a bowl and they have water and you decide to scoop some of your water into theirs and some of their water into yours. As you look at your water, do you then try to identify whose is whose? Or is it simply water? And the answer is it's the water of your soul, and it just happens to contain some of their water. Do you understand? And so it's not about containing or who's got how much of what. That is a linear proposition. Instead, you might say, is how big is joy? How big is love? That soul of yours, right now as you sit there, with that amazing akash you have, is filled with loving entities of the past. That's a big one. The people you have loved and lost, the people that they have loved and lost, included you as one of those they lost, all there. And this then drives the Akashic family, some of whom you are with, some of whom you were drawn to on this planet to rekindle the love affair. Mother, father, sister, brother, partner. It is a system of grandness that goes beyond anything you ever expected. It is extraordinary. You are magnificent, and your soul echoes all of that. I am Kryon in love with humanity. And so it is.
And just allow that beautiful energy to continue a little longer, integrating the beautiful message with the beautiful energy. And if you've had your eyes closed, you are invited to open those eyes. You may wish to move your body in the chair. Take a deep breath. And we're going to invite you to bring your awareness back into your body. Bring your awareness back into the room. Because in this next section, it's a little more dynamic. And we're going to have the dynamic duo, Lee.